Okay. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Magic Monday with Faye. It is August the 4th, so that has happened. It's already August the 4th. And it's kind of funny, the fall autumn equinox isn't until like September 21st or something. I can never remember. It's like the 21st, 22nd, or sometimes the 20th, roughly the third week in September. So it's not like August is the end of summer, but where we live, school goes back in session the beginning of September. So like summer was kind of what you thought of between like July and August were kind of summer. Even though really fall doesn't start till late September and summer, it feels like summer in June anyway. But anyway, that's how it is. So here we are in August of the year of our Lord 2025 AD. And I'm curious about a couple things. I'm curious how your summer's going. Like, have you done all the fun summery things that were on your bucket list for summer? Did you make a bucket list for summer? Do you have an ongoing life bucket list for summer? Do you have an ongoing bucket list for life? Because if you don't have those things, it would be a good thing to do, because life is short and seasons come and go, and we go ripping through time at what feels like an ever increasing speed. And I'm willing to bet that you, just like me and everyone else, have like all of these stunning ideas for what you would really like to do, while it's still summer. And it still is now for a little while, and it'll really quickly not be summer anymore. And I'm willing to bet that you and me and everyone else has a bunch of things that we're not going to get to achieve, experience, do, or be that we would really like to have. So, what are those things for you? I have quite a few. I mean, that's not fair to say, quite a few. I have some simple ones that feel more challenging. So, I would like to go paddleboarding or swimming. I am on an island surrounded by the ocean, obviously. That's what an island is. Lakes everywhere. And I haven't really been swimming too much or in the water too much. So I would like to change that. And the reason that hasn't happened is because I'm being completely at the effect of the fact that Adam doesn't really like doing that. And so it's easy for me not to do it. I don't want to do it alone. But there are more people on this island than just Adam. So I could probably find people to do it with me. And if I want those things to happen, I'm going to have to do them. I'm going to have to go and make them happen because the summer will pass and I just won't. So, what are the things like that for you that you're deferring or waiting on that um, predictably just won't happen if you don't make them happen, right? They're a little outside of I don't know, the normal schedule that you're following, or if you have kids or family, or work looks a particular way, your schedule probably is going to keep going the way it's going. So whatever those things are, and I don't know like what it is. Maybe it's like evening walks. Maybe you want to go for like lovely dusky walks. Maybe you want to make ice cream. Like that seems like a great idea all the time. Maybe you want to well, this is so funny. This is like a thing that I don't want to do enough, but every time I see someone do it, I'm always so inspired by them. So if I go to a park or the beach, I see people who've like brought a mini barbecue and then they set it up and they're just like having a barbecue or like a picnic at the beach or at the lake. I never do this. I don't actually have a mini barbecue, so that's a thing that would need to be adjusted. But um like this is not a hard thing to do, but I don't ever do it. And I'm always so like I'm just romanticize the lives of the people who do it. I just think, boy, you have your shit together, or you must really enjoy your life, or you're really creating an experience of life. Because for me, and I think a lot of people, certainly driven people, it's very easy for one season to just kind of roll into the next and the next and the next, and time passes by. And there's probably, if you're like me also, a very romantic, I don't mean romantic like love romantic, though maybe if that's your thing. I just mean like a romanticized, like almost nostalgic version of life that seems very lovely and magical. And then the life you're having is in a separate lane. And these two lanes like rarely intersect except for maybe when you're on holiday. So if there are a bunch of things like that for you, it's going to take you choosing what they are. So you need to get clear on them, hence the list, so that you can make them happen because it's August the 4th and summer is on its way out. We're like halfway through summer. I think we're a little past halfway. Math is hard. We're a little past halfway. We're halfway-ish there. It's halfway-ish, right? So if you want something to happen, you're going to need to make it happen. And it's going to be really easy for it not to happen because you, like everything, are, you know, following the rules of physics. So like objects in motion stay in motion. So you're going to stay in the general moving in this general direction and velocity that your life already goes in unless something different happens. And that something different is going to mean you doing something different, you changing the course, you making a plan, you buying a small barbecue and going to the lake or whatever it is for you. So anyway, what are those things for you? And it seems like a great place to talk about. So first of all, your summer plans and how they're going. Are they going? Tell me in the chat. If you're here, let me know so I can shower you with praise and have a more interesting conversation than just by myself. Um, so those are some of my summer plans. I feel like we've been away a lot, but maybe we haven't. I was in Iceland, obviously, in the beginning of June. The beginning of June. Goodness, that's 2 months ago. 2 months ago today, I left for Iceland. That is crazy pants. Wow. It feels like 2 weeks ago. So that's what I mean. That's 8 weeks have passed since I got to Iceland, and it literally feels like just a minute. And now it's August, and I have a bunch of things I want to do with my summer. And I'm currently in this moment being like, holy shit, time is moving real quick. So what are those things for you? Tell me. Tell me and let's create a plan. I am working on a bunch of the things I want to accomplish and achieve and experience this summer, and I have a bunch of travel. So I'm away this weekend for a mystery. Adam has planned a mystery birthday weekend. I don't know where I'm going. It's very exciting. And then the following week, we are going to Whistler for a conference. So if you're in Whistler next weekend, let us know. Actually, I think we're there from Thursday to Sunday. So if you're in Whistler from Thursday to Sunday next week, let us know. We can meet up. That'd be so fun. That'd be so fun. Let's meet up. You can pretend we're like influencers meeting up like influencers do. I don't know. I'm not an influencer. So, and then it'll be like August the 17th, right? And I will have, 2 weeks left of August to move these things forward that I wanted done by the end of the month. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you right now, here are some things that are off track. Getting my office kind of redecorated. I finally got around to starting the painting. Well, finally got around. I was gone literally all last week. So to give myself some credit, that was not going to happen when I wasn't here to do it. And just to be clear, I really could have hired someone to paint my office. If you're like, why is Bay painting her office? That's a great question. I'd love to answer that for you. I shouldn't be painting it. I am not good at painting offices or anything. And it would have been a much better decision to have someone professional come and do it. And here's why I didn't. My office is a giant mess. And in order for someone to paint it, because it's my office, there's a bunch of shit in my office or things, furniture, stuff. All my stuff is in my office. And I was overwhelmed with the idea of what I would need to do to make the room be paintable. So I'm doing like one wall at a time. And that seems challenging to bring in a professional for. So I'm doing it myself. Many lessons have been learned. So I started painting, got 2 coats in by yesterday, and I am not sure that I'm in love with the color I picked. It's supposed to be a very, 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 very pale pink. Feels pinker than that. So I think I'm gonna go to Home Depot tonight and look at more paint colors, which I hate to do because I already did like 2 walls. Ugh! Ugh. Gosh, you guys, I'm having feelings. But it's the perfect conversation. I'm going to come back to the painting. Stay tuned for the painting because that's the second part of this conversation today. So other things that are falling off of the rails is working on my book. I am finding it a real challenge to get as much rest as I need to get, whether I don't know if it's my age or if it's the fact that I have 2 autoimmune disorders now, but I am a tired person a lot of the time, and I'm trying really hard to prioritize rest and sleep. And that has meant that I'm not waking up as early. And then that early mornings would be my writing time. So my mornings have been shot, which is going back to that thing I was talking about earlier. Like, what is the romanticized version of life that you wish you got to experience? Because there's whatever the gap is. And mine is one in which I get up very early, have the house to myself, get to do a couple of hours of writing time before my day even starts. That's heaven for me. Like, get up, make a pot of tea, light a candle. In the summer, I don't know, just sit by the window and enjoy this, right? So that's not happening because I have been prioritizing rest. And I'm willing to bet that whatever the thing is that's in the way of you getting to live your magical, rishful, romantical version of life is like mine, where like an external person would be like, just go to bed earlier, dummy. Wake up on time. Don't hit snooze, right? So it's not going to be the hardest thing in the world, but any kind of habit, any kind of change to your routine is very challenging because humans are creatures of habit. So first of all, we just got to own that it's actually challenging. It's not a personal flaw or failing that you're challenged by making changes. Literally everyone is. If making changes were so easy, everyone would do it all the time and life coaching would not be a thing. Probably still would be a thing because then those people would be making changes but not really in control of or at cause for their experience or who they're being in the moment. But I digress. So that's it for me. And I have to admit, like I feel like there's like a bit of a ticking, like a metronome that's speeding up because I really wanted to have a particular experience of this summer and I haven't created it for myself, namely those mornings and really moving some stuff forward. Because come hell or high water, I want this book done and like the edits all done, ready to be published by the end of December. And I need to get my ass in gear. And so that needs to happen. I am sharing, no one else is sharing, you guys. You're leaving me high and dry, telling you all the things that are falling off the rails in my life. I would like to hear from some of you because I know I'm not alone. What are some things that you are not doing? And it might be your projects and it might be like your overall experience of summer or life. Come on, share. Let's be a team here. So if we dive into um, you know, I guess I should share, there's the other parts too. One, I just have a lot of things on the go. We are actively enrolling for the upcoming cohort of the Forge, which starts in early September. We have the Forge Intensive, so it's a public intensive that people can attend, and that is it's the last week of September. So we're enrolling for those things. Laura and I are hosting a fall fantasy retreat in beautiful, hand painted by God in Autumn, Vermont. So we've rented a farmhouse in Vermont. We're going to do all, like, if you're a Hufflepuff or Hobbit, you don't even need to be a Hufflepuff. We will allow members from all houses to attend, but this is really an opportunity to step into the like a tapestry of woven golds and coppers and fiery reds and all of the beautiful colors that Autumn likes to show off. We're going to be plunked in the middle of that tapestry. It's going to be amazing. We're going to do all the fall things. We have some really beautiful work planned, like workshops, coaching that Laura and I will be offering. We offer free workshops every January, and they are, she says of herself, happy to be arrogant here, fucking incredible. Like really, really good. So, it's not going to be a work heavy retreat because it really is a retreat. It's meant to be a time to come together, to really cozy up with everything you've ever wanted your fall to be. I was talking about how summer's slipping by and there's a bunch of stuff you're not doing. We're gonna fall it up, guys. We're gonna fall it up. So that's coming up. So I'm enrolling for that. I also have been kind of coming out of the first year of my grief and as you all know, it was like surprised by my mom's passing, even though we knew she was dying, because the human soul is an incredible thing when it comes to denying challenging things that are happening. So I really took the foot off and created a lot of space in my business. And when clients completed, as they always do, I didn't actively seek to um, fill those spots again. And then I was not feeling physically well, and it turned out I had these autoimmune issues, and they took a serious amount of my time and focus to just get those handled and under control, which thankfully we've done. And so now it's been, a year and a half or so, almost a year and a half since my mom passed and since all of these things happened. And I'm kind of stepping back in and looking, and I have spaces in my private one-on-one practice. That's pretty rare for me, if I'm being totally honest. I don't usually have spaces open up. And right now I have two spaces available for new clients. So I'm happy to speak to anyone that who is, someone that you would consider a really driven person, or someone who um, is really looking to create a shift in their life. They might be going through a transition. They're probably someone that you would identify as being kind of like me, like pretty driven, pretty achievement focused, or were in the past. So either they're still that way, but life is not feeling as rewarding as they want it to be, or they used to be that way and now they really struggle to kick themselves into gear. And there's still a gap between the life they're living and the life they want to be living. So if you know people like that, I would love to talk to them. I'll let you know, I specifically would love to work with. Um, I love working with medical professionals. I would love to work with people in the architecture world. That's just super interesting to me. Architecture, construction, all of those kinds of places, very fascinating to me. So if you know anyone in those worlds, let me know. I would love to be introduced to them. You don't even need to know if they would be a client or not, but if you know someone who you think um, that I would really enjoy meeting, or someone that you think would really enjoy or benefit from meeting me, I would love an introduction. So I would be super grateful just to grow my network of awesome humans that I know. And I'm looking for some referrals to fill those spots. So I'm doing those things all at once. Again, while I'm trying to work on my book, though that's not been going super smoothly, trying to redecorate my office and move some stuff around in the house. That's like going. We have a renovation of the suite above our garage because our tenant really wrecked it. So that sucks. So I'm managing a lot of things, and I'm sharing these things because I am willing to bet that you, like me, are not a one-trick pony. You don't have one thing on your plate. You don't just go to work and come home, or you're not just a parent. What the fuck is just a parent anyway? You're kidding. Parents are superheroes. I don't know how you guys do it. Like just a parent, and then you come home. You probably have a career. You probably have family that you're taking care of, whether they are, aging parents, or maybe they're young children, or maybe they're teenage children, or maybe they're adult children, or it's, sibling. I don't know, people in your world that you're taking care of. And you probably have that. There's your own well-being that you're managing. You might have projects on the side, hobbies. And I don't speak hobbies lightly. I think everyone needs them, and I think we need more of them. I don't think we came here to work, pay taxes, and die. I think we have screwed it up, and someone needs to work on this. I do my best. That's part of what the work is that I do with people. But, so you've got a lot going on. There's a lot of plate spinning, and there's only 24 hours in the day. So how do we make this work? How do we, move things forward, you know, when they don't go the way they should go? And let's be clear, they don't go the way they should go. Nothing. Your meticulously created plan does not go the way it should go. Your, you know, project that you designed in your professional job didn't go the way it looked on the project plan. It doesn't go that way. Like your plan for how your summer would look, or your summer mornings, it's not going that way, right? So the thing that we can rely on, that is absolutely a certainty, is that things don't go the way they should go, or at least the way they should go according to us. They go the way they do go. And you can really drive yourself bonkers with that. You can become a miserable person when you're trying to force things to go a particular way, because the fact that you have to force them tells you everything right off the bat. So there's kind of like how you plan for it to go. And if you're someone like me, I'm a fairly idealistic person. I have a lot of vision. I see a lot of possibility. And when people tell me something they want to do or want to create, I'm just like, heck yeah, that's a no-brainer. And I'm not blowing smoke. Genuinely, I just think like most of the time, what people want and what they want to create is definitely something the world wants and needs, because what the world wants and needs is you lit up by what your soul is here to do. And there are more than 8 billion people and counting on this planet, and I guarantee you that there is a market and audience for whatever it is. It doesn't even mean that like the thing you're doing that's lighting you up doesn't have to be your full-time gig. Maybe it's your side hustle, or maybe it's, I want to say just a hobby, but I don't mean just a hobby. I simply mean a hobby as an activity or extracurricular that you don't expect to like earn a salary for. And so like make your living from. And so whatever those things are that you want to do, I believe in them. Someone somewhere's doing it. So you know what? And here's the thing. I reserve the right to directly contradict myself at any given point, so long as it supports the conversation and moves the person forward. So I'm going to do it right now. So someone somewhere is doing what you want, and that means you can do it too. And if somehow you're like a magical rishikal unicorn and no one is doing what you're doing, then guess what? Open market. There's space for you to do it. So there's literally no reason for you not to do the thing you want to be doing. And so whatever it is, you should do it. And that being said, I will admit that part of what really can trip me up is that in my mind, it's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. We'll just do this, this, and this, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's a done deal, and you can do it. And to be fair, I think this about very challenging things. And this is part of how my brain works. I'm a really driven individual, so I tend to look at the peak of the mountain and be like, yeah, I can climb that, no problem. And I often underestimate what it takes to get to the top. Um, as I look at the mountain, I'm like, yeah, I see a very clear line. Well, it's a different thing standing here at the base of a mountain, or not even at the base of the mountain, standing here looking on my screen of a mountain. It's very easy to plot a chart to get up Mount Everest if you're not actually on Mount Everest, where there's not enough air, and infinite other things like frozen bodies you have to climb over. So it's very easy from where we are to figure out how the thing should go, the project, the task, the whatever. And then life happens as it does, not as we want it to, unfortunately, most of the time. And, what do you do when the project doesn't go as smoothly as you want it to? I have experienced this so many times. Laura and I didn't even mention this, Laura and I are also enrolling for um, our West of Wonderland consulting group. It's called Wayfinders. It's a no-brainer. Like, we're thrilled about it. It's a no-brainer for the people that it's targeting, which are women who work in the field of sustainability in any way, shape, or form. So whether they work in like outright sustainability, or maybe they work in ESG, the world of ESG, um, any of those things, right? There's plenty of them, and they're very under-supported. And we love the version of the world that those people are working to support, and we really want to support them. So we know it's a no-brainer. We have this great thing to offer, and it's still been challenging because we don't know all the right people all around the world. There's 8 billion and counting, but we don't know them. They don't know us. So I really get when people are, struggling, with whatever their thing is that they're trying to create. It's very challenging when it's like, it'll work, it should work, and yet here you are and you're kind of struggling. That's tough. That's challenging. So what do we do when that happens? Because it's really easy to lose our motivation. It's really easy to lose our inspiration when you're kind of in the plotting plateau of it, when it's not going the way you want it to go. So what do we do in that space? Well, there's a few things that we can do. One, do not peg your happiness or success to something as flimsy as motivation or inspiration. They are fickle. They are wonderful when they're there, but they are fickle and they will leave so that you can roll up your sleeves and do the hard work, which is required. Like, there's usually just some like heavy lifting to be done, regardless of whatever the thing is that you're trying to do, regardless of how much you love it. It's still likely going to take some work. And so if we rely on feeling motivated or feeling inspired, or if we rely on our feelings in general, we're probably sunk. right? Because if I'm only going to take action when I feel a particular way, that's going to make it very challenging to take regular, consistent action. And regular, consistent action is how we move things forward. And so there's all these quotes and they're very similar. And I have tried to figure out who said it first and I don't know. So I'm just going to like say the general gist of the quote, which is, I only work when inspiration strikes, but fortunately she strikes every morning at 9 a.m. Right? Someone else said, I only work um, when inspiration, when I'm inspired, or like when inspiration strikes, but fortunately, inspiration always shows up wearing like work coveralls, you know? So this is really it, is like, it's not about how vividly you can see the vision of what you're trying to create, though that's super important. I'm not saying skip that. I'm just talking about a different part in the project. It's not about how much everyone says it's a good idea, though that feels great when they do. Let me tell you though, a lot of the times when you come up with a great idea that everyone thinks is a great idea and they're cheering you on, they're like, yeah, 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 you go, you go. And then you launch the thing as a real thing in the world, you'll notice how quiet it gets. It's a normal thing. I read a Harvard study about this once. I have never been able to find the Harvard study since, which drives me bonkers, but essentially says that family members, good friends, and people in your closest circle are the last people to support you. And unfortunately, to you, that's going to feel like a real slap in the face, especially if you're someone who's just going to promote and share anything your people do. So don't take it personally when the people near you don't support you. It's normal. It's normal. It's shitty, but it's normal. And so, like that piece that's great, the feeling of inspiration, the feeling of being lit up, the feeling of being so motivated, nothing's going to stop me. Well, like, yeah, things will, And the thing that'll stop you the most is probably not something catastrophic, which, thank goodness, because hopefully you don't have that many catastrophic things happen to you. But what's going to really stop you is your feelings. And all of us fall into the trap of only taking actions when we feel good, or if we feel bad, stopping, or if we feel bad or tired, or we feel sad, or we feel anything that is a negative emotion, or we feel is a negative emotion, we will give up. So that's really normal, but that's going to be problematic if you're trying to move something forward, right? Because if you only exercised when you felt like it, like when you really felt like it, maybe you're a weirdo like me. I actually really like exercise. I really like moving my body. But for most people, it's a bit of a chore, and certainly it can be really challenging to stay in a consistent relationship with exercise. So if you only exercised on the moments when you were like, yeah, I love lifting up heavy things and putting them back down again, you would not exercise regularly, right? Remember, objects in motion stay in motion, and objects at rest stay at rest unless acted upon by an equal but opposite force, right? So something has to happen to shift us out of the inertia of not working out, not moving our projects forward. Left to our own devices, we're going to roll to a stop, and we're going to stay at that stop unless some force acts upon us to propel us forward. And so the thing is, it is easier to keep moving forward if you keep the momentum going. And if you stop it, then you come to a complete stop, and then there's like all that inertia. You have to overcome, you need a ton of momentum to get moving, and it's actually easier to keep moving if you are moving. So the thing that is needed when we're feeling flat, or when we're feeling meh, or when we're feeling like we're falling behind, is to just sit and have a moment with those feelings and just acknowledge them. They don't have to make them super meaningful. They don't actually mean much. It's just a feeling. You feel things all the time. Most of those things you totally ignore, right? It's just some that you make really meaningful and tell a story about yourself. So the thing to do is to brush yourself off and figure out what to do next, right? If the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, remember the second best time is right now. So if it would have been better if 8 weeks ago I got up every morning at 6 a.m. and wrote for 2 hours, which it would have been, I'm not going to lie to you, the next best thing would be to figure out what I need to do so that I can get up tomorrow and do it. And then what do I need to put in place so I can do that every day afterwards, right? Because let me tell you, you go off to work every day and you are not feeling motivated to work, you're not like, man, I just fucking love my job. I can't wait to go do my work. You know, some people that's true. I love what I do, but I've definitely had in a previous career lots of days where, I wasn't going to work because I really loved working for the government. It was a paycheck, it was a salary, right? And so, what's the difference between showing up for something like that, which you'll show up to consistently, versus these other projects of yours that you're trying to move forward but keep getting stuck on? And like the difference is simply that you have consequences to not showing up when someone is employing you, right? So if you want to keep your employment, if you want to keep your salary, if you want to keep your vacation days, if you want to keep your health insurance, you better show up and clock in for your work. And so, I mean, that's an unsexy way to put it, but it's true. It's not that you can't make yourself do anything, it's that you're overlooking the structures that you have in place that have you move things forward. And those structures are typically some kind of incentive, e.g., like that if we're talking about me working for the government, it was a salary and health insurance and all of those benefits. And there was a consequence. If I didn't show up, I would not continue to have those perks, right? And so think about whatever the projects are that you're trying to move forward on your own, and then ask yourself, what are the structures that you have put in place? What are the incentives and what are the consequences to moving them forward? Because I'm willing to bet there are none. So, what ends up happening is you have a bunch of things that you're trying to move forward, and you think you should just move them forward as though by magic without any external motivation. And I'm here to tell you that's probably very unreasonable. That is asking a lot. That's like laying a buffet of junk food in front of a teenager and then telling them to make sure they eat the cut veggies first. You're asking a lot, right? So it's really about letting yourself have the moment, be frustrated, be disappointed, be sad, be whatever the feeling, embarrassed, I don't care, like whatever is on the human spectrum of emotion is available to you. And then notice that it's having you tell some stories about yourself, like, oh, I didn't, for me, like um, I wasn't getting up early enough to write. And what I make that mean about myself is that I'm lazy and that I waste time, um, that I'm not committed, that I'm a failure. So if I want to, I could sit with those stories for all of time. I could also look and go, well, those things aren't like really true of me. It's just how I feel. And in any given moment, there's an opportunity for me to get back on top of my game, for me to get back into my game, for me to play and realize that whatever structure I had was not sufficient to, first of all, overcoming my resistance to doing the thing. And there's always going to be resistance to doing the thing. There is, I'll say it again for the people in the back. There's always going to be resistance to doing the thing. Always, period. End of story. There's always going to be resistance. So, what is the structure, incentives and consequences, that is needed to overcome the resistance? And also, what is the structure that is necessary in order to generate the results? Because those are often two different things. So you can overcome the resistance to taking action, but it may not be sufficient action. So what is sufficient to not only getting you into action, but also having you stay in action, right? And staying in action, having you take regular, consistent um, action towards the thing you want to do. And so, and then you just need to start practicing this like lather, rinse, and repeat. It's very easy to fall off. And if you go away on vacation, you might have noticed that maybe you were doing really well with exercise or eating healthy. Then you go on vacation and you're gone for 2 weeks, and it's vacation. I'm not even making jokes about it. It's for sure a thing. Like you go, you want to enjoy yourself. You've saved up, you've planned for it, and then you come home. Have you ever noticed how hard it can be to get back to a regular bedtime or to get up early again and work out or to keep eating healthy or start eating healthy again? These things are super challenging. And it just means that the structure is missing and you were expecting yourself to do these things without any consequence or without any incentive. And that doesn't work for anyone. Doesn't work for puppies, doesn't work for children, it doesn't work for adults. Doesn't work, right? So likely you just need to spend some time getting clear What is it I'm trying to do here? Does the experience of my life match the one that I want? Am I making progress on my projects? Because here's another thing. Um, to when you don't make progress on your projects because you're not creating enough structure for it, it can start to become pretty rancid. It can be fairly toxic because you'll start to blame yourself for not moving things forward. You're going to look for, you feel disappointed, you might feel frustrated, you might feel embarrassed, you might feel sad, mad, whatever it is, because the project's not moving forward. And then your brain, 'cause super helpful pink thing in here, likes to go, oh no, you're having a feeling. Let's find a reason for it. Is it because you're shitty? Is it because you're inadequate? Is it because you are a failure? That's what your brain's going to do. It's the low hanging fruit. You hang out there all the time. So do all the rest of the humans, right? And what it doesn't do is go, hey, are you feeling those ways because, you had a break in your normal routine and now all of your schedules feel kind of wacky and you haven't gotten back into them? Or are you feeling those feelings because you really haven't incorporated enough structure into your projects? Yeah, that's cool. You just need more structure. No, that's not what your brain does. Your brain's like, you're a piece of garbage. You're a piece of garbage and you're never going to win. See, you can never do hard things. This is why you should give up all your dreams. That's what your brain does. Our brains do this thing because we have a negative confirmation bias that's trying to keep us from getting into trouble. And your survival mechanism and mine is just trying to keep us from doing anything dangerous. And it believes that literally everything is dangerous, especially if we really want to do it, right? Especially if it's not our day job, but we're passionate about it. And so it's just about understanding your mental gymnasium and then doing whatever it takes to get into some action, not perfect action, not beating yourself up, but just like what would it look like if tomorrow you spent 15 minutes moving that thing forward? Because the thing about a plateau is that it gets a lot longer if you stop moving. Imagine if Lord of the Rings, there's like all the walking shots where they just pan out and you see them walking forever because it was so much walking. Imagine if they just stopped and were like, ugh, I don't know, it's a long walk. How long do we have to go? That seems really far. I'm just going to stay here. That'd be a boring movie. No, you got to keep walking. The plateau doesn't get any shorter because you stopped, right? So we have to get back in and we have to figure out what is needed for us to get motivated again. So if it's like, I'm going to get up tomorrow morning early and I'm going to write, and the way I'm going to do this, what's actually going to compel me to do it is I'm going to like get into my car, drive to a coffee shop and work there. Oh my God, do it. Or if it's like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work on my book and then I'm going to exercise and have a shower and be ready and I'm going to go, because if I do it in this order, then I would have time to go to the local coffee shop, get myself a little treat and breakfast, because guess what works for people? Treats. Works for my puppy, works for you too. Bribe yourself, whatever it really takes to get yourself into action and moving things forward. So this is really what it's about. It's really like, what do we do when how it's going isn't how it should go? Well, we take a look at how we feel about that. We allow ourselves to go, well, that's a normal way to feel about that. And then we go, and what am I going to do about it? What's the next step? If I wasn't going to give up, and then you know what? It's fine. If you decide you do want to give up on that thing, whatever that passion project is, or whatever that thing is you're trying to achieve, you can give up. I know you're like, what kind of fucking life coach is Bae? She's telling people to give up. Yeah, I will tell people to give up if they're literally like, let's be honest, are you actually committed to moving this thing forward? Do you really want it? If the answer is no, you should give up. Don't like crucify yourself on some project that you're not actually really planning on ever moving forward. So let's have a moment to be real. Am I going to do it? Do I really want to do it? Yes? Great. Then take some action. Figure out what structure you need. What is the discipline of moving it forward? Not discipline, beat yourself up, but devotion. How can you be devoted to yourself and your dream to move it forward? And then go take that action. And if you're like, nah, I'm never going to do it, then take it off your fucking list. Stop beating yourself up with this. There are plenty of other things to beat yourself up with instead. Or imagine this. Imagine you just were living your life and not beating yourself up. Oh, right? So these are the things to do. And ultimately, it's all going to boil down to one thing, which is choose. Choose to do it, then do it. Don't like if you're being really honest, and I will admit to this too, often we haven't really chosen to do it. So it's not super surprising when the next morning your alarm goes off, you're like, I don't want to do it, and you hit snooze because you haven't actually chosen it. Where do you think you've chosen something? But if we looked at the results, the reality would be not you haven't chosen it. You have maybe chosen it. You might do it if you feel like it. Oh, wait, it's like a lot of places, right? It's a lot of places. Yeah. So you got to be honest. You got to get clear. Am I really going to do this thing, or am I holding this as a perpetual desire that I get to sit here and like yearn for but never get? And then I beat myself up for never achieving. But the reality is, you're literally not going to achieve it because you're not actually planning on doing it. Hi, Liz. Ohio? Let me tell you about Ohio. Last way, I mean, you know, because you're there, unless you were away last week. It's so nice to see you, by the way. I think we get to talk soon. I'm very excited about this. Um, Ohio, very, very hot, very, very muggy. I don't know where you are in Ohio, but where we are, there's like soybean fields and cornfields. And it turns out that apparently cornfields make the world muggy. Do you know this? Did you know this about corn? I learned a lot of things about corn. In the past 2 years of going to Ohio in July, I've learned a lot about corn. Um, Also skunks. They will skunk. Is that the action? Spray right under your air conditioning unit. That comes right into your house. Right in. You can like taste it. Real gross. Anyway, apart from that, it was really interesting weather. I realized that the humidity, like the heat and humidity, makes Ohio in summertime feel like Costa Rica, which is like nearly equatorial. So that is wild. I thought I was being dramatic, but Adam agreed with me. He's like, "Oh no, this definitely feels like Costa Rica." So my mind is blown. Yeah, so there was that. Are you saying why did I go to Ohio? I will tell you. We were there to work with a client's business team, which is super fun. Um, I freaking love working with teams in person. It's really, really fun just to see the work in real time. And I really enjoy when especially when I have a client who has a team. I love working with their team because you get to see the impact of this work, like the work that you're doing with the client, really transforming their leadership. And you get to see this work when it works on people who are new to it. And ontological work, coaching, I'm an ontologically trained coach, is really spectacular, I think, period. And especially when people are brand new to it, like it changes the world for them really, really quickly. So I really love that. So that's why. So we were there, and then we also took a day off and went to Cedar Point and rode all the rides. And it was the one day, I think it might have rained, but it was early in the morning. And every other day rained more. So we had like a very beautiful day at Cedar Point, which was lovely because I think the day before it rained so much it flooded. But I had lots of fun at Cedar Point. I would like to go back like tomorrow. Um, so there's that. And we went, and I also thought, because we were in Fremont, which is in Sandusky County, but Cedar Point is in Sandusky, the town. It's so cute. You may not know this because you live in the States, but the US, like your little towns, yeah, little towns are so cute. There is a vibe in American small towns that we do not have in Canadian small towns. And I have tested this now, and it's just very charming and very quaint and makes me feel like I'm in a Hallmark movie. So I just thought it was really beautiful. So it was lots of fun. I may have been there when your kids were there. If they heard a lot of screaming, that was likely me. Also, the day we were there, Daniel Radcliffe, aka Harry Potter, was also there. And now I've like my memory has now shifted to make believe that I saw him. I didn't see him, or if I did see him, I didn't clock him. But anyway, it was very fun. And surprisingly, because I think Six Flags owns Cedar Point, and Six Flags has the worst food of any amusement park that I've ever been to. But the food that we had at the park was really, really good. So very impressive. Enjoyed. Also, if you're from Ohio, because I learned this in Iceland, because almost everyone on our Iceland retreat was from Ohio, and they all started talking about a local ice cream. Now, I am very fond of the local ice cream here in Victoria, BC. Um, and I was like, I mean, maybe your ice cream's good, but our ice cream's probably better. And then we got to taste a whole bunch of Jenny's ice cream. Have you had Jenny's ice cream? Yeah. Oh, you have. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I am sold. I'm converted. It's the best. The place we stayed with our clients, and they had 17 flavors of ice cream. I had four in my bowl, four, and they were all spectacular. I would, yep, I'm, I'm all in for it. Love it. It was very, very good. Very much approve. And I am a bit of an aficionado, so there's that. I know I need an extra freezer, but also I don't think I can get Jenny's ice cream in Canada, which is a real shame. It's too bad. Oh, it was so good. I didn't even try all of them. I only tried four. No, you're totally fine, Liz. It's fun to chat with you. My favorite is when people chat in the comments because then we can talk and be humans, and it's way more fun than me just spouting off like a TED talk. That being said, I'm probably gonna sign off because I am gonna go back to the paint store and try to find a shade of pink that will work. I am now doubting my ability to determine what shade of pink will work. It was supposed to be so pale that I wouldn't be able to tell it's pink, but you can tell it's pink. It's like not quite Pepto-Bismol, but So anyway, speaking of projects that are not going the way I want them to go, I'm gonna go deal with this. We're gonna see. Okay. I hope everyone has a magical week. I hope everyone has a ton of fun. I hope that you are listening to this on the replay and take a look at what I've asked. Is your summer going the way you want it to go? Because you still have time. You got like roughly 6 weeks till the season changes. The weather's probably still good, and I'm willing to bet there are things on your list that you haven't done, and there's still time, so you should do them. Me too. We'll come back and report next week. Hmm? Okay. And then, how are things going in your projects, whether they're at work, whether they're in your personal life, whether those things are not separate? Are you feeling stuck in any of them? And, what did you hear me talk about that would help you to move those things forward? Got it? That's your assignment, should you choose to accept it. And I hope you have a magical week. I'm going away this weekend. I think I already said that. I just don't know where. Adam's surprising me for my birthday. Because, guys, I'm turning 45 on Friday. I'm like halfway through my life. That's kind of terrifying. I'm not even joking. Anyway, shower me with birthday wishes on the 8th. Okay. Ciao for now, guys. Bye.